Hey everyone, welcome back to Robotics. I hope you guys are doing well. Today we have our 14th lecture on singularities. So a singularity is when my robot can originally move in some direction, and then because of its joint position, it loses that ability to move in that direction. And the concept of losing capability or failure reminds me of this kind of fun video in robotics. Here we've got a humanoid robot that's going through a series of challenges, and all these challenges are related to search and rescue. In this specific challenge, the robot's trying to open a door and then rescue the people inside. And there's no actual people at risk here, and that's probably a good thing, because as you can see, our robot struggles with the challenge of opening this door. So in today's lecture, I want to talk about how you find singularities, and then once you've found them, what do you do with them? How do you determine the directions the robot can move and the directions your robot cannot move? All right. And throughout the lecture, I want to use this running example. Now, this is an example of a Revolute robot arm. I want to go through the structure of the robot. First, I've got my spatial frame, which is attached to the base. The x-axis is going off to the right, the y-axis is going up, and the z-axis is coming out of the screen towards you. My first joint is a Revolute joint with position theta 1. I've got a link of length L. My second joint is another Revolute joint of position theta 2. I've got my second link, again, with length L, and then here's my end effector. So overall, I've got a Revolute robot, and this robot is moving around in the XY plane. On the left, I've got the Jacobian matrix for that specific robot arm. And I've used a little bit of shorthand when defining this Jacobian. You'll notice these S's and C's, and those just correspond to sines and cosines. So when you see S1, 2, that means the sine of theta 1 plus theta 2. And when you see C of 1, that just means the cosine of theta 1. You can refer to the shorthand right here. Okay, so this will be my running example, and I want to understand when this specific robot is going to have singularities. So just a reminder, what is a singularity? It's a joint position theta where the robot loses its ability to instantaneously move or rotate in one or more directions. And originally it could move in those directions, and now because of its joint position, it cannot move in those directions any longer. Some key definitions here. So K, that's going to be the dimension of the robot's task space. So that's the space where my robot originally can move. J of T, that's going to be the rows of the Jacobian that correspond to that task space. So if you've got a planar robot and you want to think about how it moves in the X and Y axis and rotates around the Z axis, you'd be looking at the third, fourth, and fifth rows of your Jacobian. And we call it J of T just for the task Jacobian. And we know that a robot is at a singularity when the rank of J of T drops below K. So if my robot should be moving in, let's say, a whole three-dimensional world with X, Y, Z, roll, pitch, yaw, K is going to be 6. And if the robot, the task Jacobian, drops below rank 6, then I have a singularity. Today, we're going to learn how to find the joint positions where these singularities occur. All right. So let's start off just by defining these key terms for our specific running example. So in this example, I've got my Revolute robot. Here's its end effector, and I'm thinking about the task space. And for this robot, the task space is just going to be the X and Y axis. I want to think about how this robot moves up, down, left, and right. So because my task space is two-dimensional, I'm going to have K is equal to 2. Now, if I look over here at my robot's Jacobian, I want to think about how it moves in the X and Y axis, and that's going to correspond to the fourth and fifth rows of the Jacobian. So for J of T, I'm going to isolate these two rows. I'm going to write them right here. So this will be my task Jacobian. And I've picked these two rows, again, as a reminder, because I'm interested in how the robot moves in the X and Y axis. And the fourth and fifth rows are going to parameterize Px dot, the linear velocity in the x-axis, and Py dot, the linear velocity in the y-axis. Okay, so I've got the correct rows of my Jacobian. That'll tell me about how this thing is instantaneously moving in the x and y axes. Great, so I've got all my definitions, I've got my robot, and now I want to start thinking about how we find these singularities using the Jacobian matrix. Now, it turns out there's a really nice and convenient metric that I can use to find these singularities. So let's say that J of T, that's the rows of the Jacobian that are relevant for the task. I can measure how close or how far the robot is from a singularity using this metric, sigma. So I've got sigma, it's a function of theta because the value of sigma is going to change as theta changes, and it's along a continuous spectrum. On the right side, I've got my equation for sigma, and that's going to be the square root of the determinant of JT transpose. And one nice thing I like about this metric, like I mentioned, it's continuous. So when sigma is equal to 0, that means we are at a singularity. That is a joint value in which my robot is at a singularity. As sigma gets smaller, that means I'm getting closer to one of those singularities. So I'm getting closer and closer, I'm approaching a singularity. And then as sigma increases, that means I'm getting far away from singularities. In fact, if I maximize sigma, that means I'm maximizing the robot's manipulability, which is its ability to move in all the different directions in which it should be able to move. So this would be like kind of a best case, whereas when sigma gets smaller, that's kind of like a worst case scenario. All right, let's see if we can apply this metric to our example. So here I've got my robot arm, and here's the task Jacobian that we found. And here's the equation for our metric. So try solving this yourself in MATLAB. You might want to use the simplify command to get the cleanest answer, but you're just going to want to plug in your Jacobian into this equation. Here's the code that I used for this process. So in the first line, I just declared my symbolic variable. I said, hey, I want to have theta be a 2x1 vector with elements theta 1 and theta 2, and that'll be my joint position as a symbolic vector. Then L, that's going to be my link length right here, and that's another variable that I want to have here as a symbolic variable. And I'm using real just to specify that these should be real numbers. They should not be complex conjugates with imaginary elements. All right, once I've got those two symbolic variables declared, I can move on to my Jacobian. And this just comes from the previous slide where I'm now spelling out my shorthand. For example, S12 is now written as sine of theta 1 plus theta 2. Finally, I just plug in my equation for this square root of determinant of J transpose, and that's what you see right here. I'm going to simplify it, and I get this as my answer. And I've written the answer again more cleanly on the slide right here. And what we find is that the value for sigma is equal to L squared times the absolute value of sine of theta 2. And so maybe a question to you guys is, if you see this as your answer, what does that tell you about where you're going to have a singularity? All right, probably you figured out that singularities are going to occur when this sine of theta 2 is equal to 0. Because when that's 0, this whole thing is equal to 0. And that happens when theta 2 is equal to 0, pi, 2 pi, or some other multiple thereof. So singularities occur for these different joint values. Conversely, if I can increase the value of sigma, that means I'm getting farther and farther away from a singularity. I'm maximizing something called my manipulability. And that's going to occur when this is equal to, the sine of theta 2 is equal to either 1 or -1, again, because I've got the absolute value. Looking at my joint values, I can make this happen when theta 2 is equal to pi over 2, negative pi over 2, and so on. So here are the joint values that maximize the metric and are maximizing my manipulability, whereas these are the joint values that minimize the metric and lead to singularities. And I can visualize both of these different values, or these extremes, on this slide. Let's start off on the left. Here I've got my Revolut robot, and here for this specific position, I've got theta 2 is equal to 0. If I actuate either my first or my second joint, it's very easy for my robot to move along this axis. But no matter what I do with either of these two joints, instantaneously my robot cannot move along this axis. And so my robot is at a singularity. I want to highlight that this singularity is not necessarily lined up with the X or the Y or the Z axis. It can be a combination of them. And that's exactly what we see here, where I'm losing some ability to move in a combination of the X and Y axis. And that's just another one of these examples of a singularity. So here I can move in this axis. I can't move orthogonally to it. But if I look over here on the right, this is actually an example when I've maximized my manipulability. Because I'm at theta 2 is equal to pi over 2, I've got this elbow shape. And it's very easy for me to move up and down and left and right in this configuration. And you might actually try doing both of these things with your own arm, and you realize kind of how easy it is to move in the different directions using your own arm as an example. All right, so I've got this example. And I think we're kind of getting at this, but I want to spell it out a bit more clearly. In what directions can the robot move or not move when I'm at one of these singularities? And here I want to, again, just use the Jacobian. And this is why I think the Jacobian is such an interesting concept, because you can extract so much information from it. So plug your value of theta into the Jacobian that you're interested in. So you find a singularity, let's call it theta. You plug this value of theta into your Jacobian, you get your numerical matrix, and then you can figure out exactly what directions you can move and not move using these commands. So you can achieve any velocity that's in the range of your Jacobian, your task Jacobian. So you can achieve any velocity that's in the range of this JT, and you can find that using, in MATLAB, call space of the relevant rows of your Jacobian, like you see right here. I cannot achieve any velocity that's in the null space of the Jacobian transpose. And that, again, in MATLAB will be the null space of the Jacobian transpose. So you get your numerical Jacobian for that theta that you're interested in. You plug these two commands in, and you can find the axes in which you can move and the axes where you cannot move. Let me show you an example with our robot. So here I've got theta1 for my first joint value. I've got pi over 4, so I'm at 45 degrees. And for theta2, I've got 0. Right? So that's my arm fully extended, going off and to the right. Now, we know this is a singularity because we've done the math and we've seen, okay, whenever theta2 is equal to 0, that is a singular configuration. And now I want to understand in what directions can I move and what directions can I not move. So here's theta. And if I evaluate my Jacobian for that value of theta, this is what I get. All right. So now I can plug in these different commands I've mentioned. So I'm going through these lines. I've got my Jacobian matrix, like what you just saw. And let's first try the call space of this Jacobian. Let's find the call space. And what I get as my answer is 1, -1. And what that actually is trying to tell you is that's actually an axis in which you can move. So I'm just going to go over to my drawing. I'm going to go in the x-axis, 1 unit, and the y-axis, -1 units. It's just telling you a direction, right? So if you go 1 to the right, -1 down, it's a free vector. You can draw wherever you like. And it's trying to tell you, yes, you can move in this direction, okay? So you can move along this axis 1, -1 that you see right here. And now if I use a null space of J transpose, like what you see right here, my answer is 1, 1. So again, if I'm drawing, it's a free vector. I'm just trying to draw that axis, 1 to the right, 1 up. That is an axis that goes along this 45-degree angle, and that's what I cannot move, right? So I cannot move along this axis, and that makes sense if you physically think about your robot. You can't extend or retract it when it's in this singular configuration. Okay, so some practical takeaways from the examples. One thing to keep in mind when you're looking for singularities is they often come in pairs. So if you find one, there's probably another one that you should be looking for. We've seen a bunch of examples with 0 and pi kind of being those pairs. And then second, I want to reinforce the concept that singularities do not need to be directly aligned with either the x, y, or z axes. They can be some combination thereof, and you can lose your ability to move in any direction. And the same is also true for rotation. Okay. So in today's lecture, we talked about how you find singularities, and then once you find them, how you can analyze the directions in which you can move and directions where you cannot move. To emphasize these concepts a little bit more and test your own understanding, I'd encourage you to go through the practice set. You can find this practice set either in the description or in the pinned comment. As a reminder, on the first page, you've got your questions, and then on the following pages are the solutions. Once you've done that, on our next lecture, we'll start talking about a new topic. We're wrapping up Jacobians, moving on to a new topic where we start talking about the joint values that we want our robot to reach in the first place. So I hope to see you there.